in these live streams, I do these Q&As, and I answer any health questions, any fasting questions that people may have. We can talk about other personal stuff as well. Um, but yeah, right now my location is in Guatemala. I'm in Lake Atitlan, Guatemala, and this is my scenery right here, just overlooking the volcanoes, and I'm in a hammock, nice and comfortable. And I recently like splurged on like the highest quality microphone that you can have for like Bluetooth and stuff like that. So slowly but surely, kind of enhancing my social media um, imprint. So yeah, I think that I'm currently like shadow banned on Instagram, but on YouTube, I think we're still good to go. Good to see all you guys. Good morning. Here, I'm like on United States time zone. I'm in Guatemala, so it's about 8 a.m. here. And I do these like once every 2 or 3 weeks. But I wanted to kind of start by saying none of this is medical advice. I'm not a doctor. Seek medical professionals for anything health related. I have to legally say that's because I do I do give a lot of information here that people actually do. I do like 7 to 10 consultations a week, and people actually do what I say, and we get tremendous benefits. I don't ever advocate for antibiotics or anything like that. It's always natural remedies, and I'm all about cures. It's good. I'm not about symptom management. If I know that someone's not going to do the long fasting or do what I'm going to say, is we just do symptom management for anything. And I have a lot of hardcore conditions that call. Just late stage cancer and AIDS, STDs a lot of the time, and bad eczema and psoriasis conditions, hair falling out, anything like that. We usually address that with certain protocols. Anyway, so I'll go ahead and start answering some questions, and I'll tell a couple stories along the way. Um, maybe I'll start off with a story actually, because I'm here, and this is a very special area of the world for me. Like, there's really mineral-rich soil here, which I really believe that you're breathing in the air. Any ancient land, it's really useful during a dry fast because you're essentially living off the air. You're breathing in that hydration and electrolytes and minerals. And this is place over there on top of the hill is actually the place where I completed my first 21-day dry fast and was able to heal myself completely. Um, and I have FOMO, like sometimes when I'm like on these dry fasts, I'm like in the place kind of doing exercises within my area. But in reality, I want to get out there and have fun, jump in the water. Like, that's the thing. You're so grateful for like life when you're not able to do what you usually do. It's like somebody who loses an arm, they didn't realize how much they were grateful for having 2 arms. Like, once things get subtracted from you, you obviously appreciate it a lot more. So I broke the fast. I went down this hill to kind of get my wallet, because someone stole my wallet and I had no money, and I wanted to kind of go for a walk. And so I was just descending down this mountain, and I just broke a 21-day dry fast. So it's hard to conceptualize what the body and mind are doing after that long period of time, but essentially your body is trying to hydrate. Every 10 minutes you feel very dehydrated because your organs are trying to rebuild and rehydrate. So I left the house not knowing, because I never fasted that long before, and I started descending down the mountain, and I felt very dehydrated, and essentially, like, I made it down to like the first like hostel area where you can get picked up by a boat and get taken into town so I can get the money that was stolen from me, right? And I was like, I gotta bail on this. I cannot make it. I'm like a skeleton. I'm like a skeleton form that people are like, kind of like, what the hell is this guy doing? He looks like homeless, and I looked like a homeless person, but I put myself in this environment where I look, I'm 120 pounds. I'm usually 180. I'm 120 pounds, and they took care of me at this hostel. I just collapsed on the beanbag and was just kind of like, I didn't move a muscle for like maybe 2 or 3 hours. And everyone's trying to have fun around me. They're like, we're on vacation. Me, I like just finished a 21-day dry fast. And then the wait staff cared about me, where they're like bringing me like cups of water and like some watermelon juice. And eventually I was like, I got to get the hell out of here, because I'm just kind of like not a good look for this hotel hostel. And I think it's kind of weird for me to be there. So I was like leaving the place, and then this one waitress was very sweet to bring me one last cup of water, and it really felt like a Mary Magdalene kind of moment. It's like she doesn't know how much she really helped me just by giving me that last cup of water before I go back up the mountain, back where I came from. And I got lost, so now I'm like a skeleton lost, getting back home, and I'm like sitting there on this path, and I was like, shit, like this is actually like how people can die. They do these long drive fasts, and they don't understand how to exit them, right? So I'm just kind of chilling, and it's beautiful out. I was like, damn, I'm about to die in paradise with like the sun beaming through the trees on me, and I'm like, oh god. Um, and so I'm like dehydrated, and I see like this dripping like hose on the side of this walkway, and I crawl over to it to kind of like get my mouth full of water, and that gave me just enough energy to go descend again down the mountain and find my way back to my villa. And once I did, there was like a lot of stairs still, so like my heart was beating like boom, 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 and I was just like, hopefully my heart doesn't explode. And eventually I kind of like fell on my bed, and I had like all my water around me, and I knew I was safe from that moment forward. But this is like a story to show you that lesson learned. When you go beyond day 12 of a dry fast, you really need to respect the rebuilding process and the rehydration process. Still chill, like still relax, and hang out at your place for at least like 2 days before you actually start embarking on real life activities, because it's not real life. You might feel like, oh, I can eat and drink again. Like that's how people get in trouble. They refeed syndrome is when you eat too much too soon. Same thing with activity. You don't want to exert too much because you have no muscle glycogen to pull from. So your muscle tissues can actually tear more easily that way. So yeah, it's always good to start off with a story. I'm going to start knocking out some questions. And I realize the reason why I do speak fast is because sometimes there's so many questions and there's so little time, because they kick me off after 60 minutes, that I can only address so much. And so for the people kind of just joining, this is the scenery once again. It's on Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. Beautiful volcanoes where there's a bunch of like coffee and cocoa fields at the bottom of it, which is very smart because you're getting the most nutrient dense soil, because volcanoes are actually digging up from very deep into the earth and bringing minerals to the surface. Quite like sugarcane. Sugarcane has really deep roots, and therefore people eat and drink black strap molasses, because you're going deeper, the roots are going deeper to extract minerals for you to ingest. The surface minerals have been kind of tampered with, and pesticides are on the surface. Everything nowadays bad is on the surface. So anyway, good to see you guys. First question I see here is Nicolik Helena. Nicolik Helena says, what happens to, oh gosh, endometrium in women during the dry fasting? Does it thicken more or less? And I want to get pregnant. Thank you. Yeah, so this is a great question. During a dry fast, it is like a thickening process that occurs within the body. The lymphatic system and the blood get thicker by design. It's just like a histamine reaction in the body. When your white blood cells create histamine to slow down a pathogen, it's so it can oxidize it out of the body, essentially, right? So dry fasting naturally has the same mechanism where your blood gets thicker by design, so the pathogens cannot evade your immune system anymore, right? And so your blood can get cleaner quicker. So it's a net positive. And if you want to get pregnant, yes, anything that cleans the blood or the lymphatic system, boom, is going to allow, sperm to essentially enter the egg. Let's just be simple, And a couple things that I like in addition to that is sometimes you can like biohack it, or if you can time it where you're trying to get pregnant in your ovulation period. So water fasting for like 2 or 3 days right before you ovulate, and then taking NaC and iodine and sea moss during the water fast and the days leading up to the time you're trying to consummate the baby. So yeah, that's the best thing. So I found recently that I really like this amino acid called NaC, and it's like a mucolytic agent. Anything that dissolves mucus, I'm a huge fan of, and this is one of the things that's natural and is able to do it. I'm starting to really I'm starting to really kind of get back into amino acids and understand the benefit of them. I kind of overlooked them for a while. I knew they were beneficial, but yeah, they're more than just the building blocks for the body. They have functionalities. When I first started my health journey, I got involved in combo, which is a frog poison. I was desperate. I was trying to do anything to cure myself. So the frog poison, I did the most out of anybody I know. Just like the dry fasting, I did the most out of anybody. I'm an intense person. And so I did 14 dots of combo, which is enough. 17 can kill you, you know. So like 14, I was like, is this going to work? If it's going to work, it's going to work here. So I did as much as I could. And it's essentially like an amino acid complex that comes from the frog poison that chases fibromyalgia and candida out of the body. It makes you feel like healthy, you know, but essentially it's not going to cure the viral load because you have pathogens that dwell within the skin, you know, and you can't just attack that in one dose of anything. That's why dry fasting over the course of time is going to work. Some things over the course of days. It's not one application of something is usually never going to work. Um, anyway, going to the next question. Good to see some of you guys. Natalie Rise, good to see you as well. I'll attack some of the questions in the question box because people are a little bit more formal with this. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, first question in the question box is, so highest unfellment says, does your book lay out the personal protocol for 21-day dry fast before, during, and after? Yes, it does. And it's very specific and obviously it's exactly what I think is the safest and best way to do it. And a lot of times people kind of skip certain things that I say. I'm not ever saying anything that's BS that's like, okay, just to save my ass. Like I'm always saying things that you have to do in order to go as far as possible. I've read all the literature and I've done the experimentation on myself. You know, the best doctors are the ones that cure themselves, not these fat like allergy filled doctors that are taking antibiotics themselves and are calling me for consultations. You know, like you have to cure yourself. I want to listen to anybody who looks good, anybody who actually can prove that they've cured themselves. So the book has the proof on that as well, the blood tests and all that stuff. Next question is Facio Quantico 33 says, I asked in the chat, but can fasting heal hiatal hernia and esophageal sphincter valve? Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. Sometimes people can confuse. It depends. Like I don't know specifically if you actually have what you're saying here, because a lot of times when people say they have a, um, well, actually you're right. So a hernia, it can anything that's kind of not like a compound fracture in the body. Dry fasting is going to be a net positive. It's going to recalibrate your body and get rid of the mucus that is that's like creating blockages in the body, you know, because you want blood flow, you want flow in the body, circulation, lymphatic flow. Because if there's a blockage in your lymphatic system, you can accumulate bloating. You can get like fatter areas of the body essentially because it's held up. Your trash system is not able to flow correctly. So there's just blockages. So um, with that, like you know, I'll just shoot you straight with something like that. It's going to take like more than 9 days dry fast for you to kind of see noticeable benefits that are that you're happy with. So I would get tests right before the dry fast and then test right afterwards, and you'll see progress with it. If it's parasitically uh, induced, what you're talking about, then I think it would take longer than 9 days. Just shooting you straight. But yeah, I certainly would go for it, especially if it's debilitating you every single day. I think the dry fasting is the best thing you can do. Of course, you can do like a great daily plan where you're intermittent fasting and you're doing everything I'm saying with the antiparasitics and the clean blood. Then you can make progress without fasting, but fasting is the end all be all in my opinion. Next question here is Alcolytic says the pain started after I resisted to poo on the 10th day, and on the first day pain was so bad it felt like dying. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're talking about while you're on the fast. Um, yeah. Okay, so I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Um, next question is, can fasting heal? So J0 Gustine 1 says, can fasting heal the lungs and regrow alveoli? Um, so there's a bunch of scientific terms that are kind of being tossed in here right now. Alveoli, I'm not really sure what alveoli is. I haven't really ever heard that, but yeah, so fasting can certainly heal the lungs. So sometimes the lungs, I mean, obviously there you can have damage from like asthma, like a bacterial infection, a fungal infection. Um, you can also have a cigarette addiction, but yeah, absolutely. Like the body prioritizes anything that can clean the blood, the skin, the lungs, and the kidneys. So the fasting is going to completely regenerate the lung tissue so that you're able to absorb oxygen. Because not only is there a battle between the good and bad bacteria in your body, there's also a battle between you actually retaining oxygen. You know, intestinal absorption is great too, but that also is affected by the same thing, which is biofilm mucus coating the intestines and coating the lungs. So if you're during fasting, you're actually you know, your body sees mucus and lymphatic stagnation as hydration, because that has been hijacked. The bad bacteria hijacks your hydration, and that turns into mucus that plagues the body. During a fast, your body takes back that biofilm. So now it's re-exposing your intestinal lining, it's re-exposing your lungs to actually absorb oxygen. The reason that's important is because these parasites do not want to get oxidized, because oxygen is their enemy. So oxygen equals life. Oxygen is their enemy. So therefore, let's prevent this vessel from absorbing it, clog the sinuses, create inflammation in the headspace, and create a biofilm around the lungs, therefore that they can actually survive better within you. That's the whole name of the game. Clear out the biofilm, and then you can absorb the oxygen, and therefore oxygen can circulate within your body into your extremities. Some people have cold hands and cold feet, but when it's not circulating to your extremities, your Krebs cycle, which is how you produce energy in your muscle, is restricted. And when oxygen is not getting to your muscle tissue, that turns into lactic acid. Now you become a lactic acid being, and any physical activity is going to be very arduous for you. You're going to feel very tired soon. That's the acid that makes you want to quit when you're exercising. So if you can get that under control, then you're going to be like an elite endurance athlete. So when I see like people who are like dominating track and field, I always judge their physicality. I'm judging their like skin and like how their eyes look, and usually they look beautiful, very white eyes, and not even a blemish on their skin, no pimples for sure. And it's just like, oh, this is easy for them. People think it's like they're just like mentally strong, which they are, but it's usually because their oxygen regulation is like top notch as well. Next question. The question, okay, sorry. Next question is, okay, so Faccio Quantico, okay. We answered one of your questions already, but yeah, traumatic brain injury can definitely be rectified with dry fasting. Everyone's dry fasting when they're sleeping, so like you're dumping off inflammation in the headspace when you're sleeping, right? So now you're extending that process, because now you're dry fasting for not 1, 2, 3, more than a few days. So you're actually benefiting from releasing the inflammatory effects on the brain and rectifying traumatic brain injuries, because all your brain wants to do when it has traumatic brain injuries is sleep, to kind of fix things and dump off the damage, the inflammatory damage. Okay. Next question. I usually don't go through the question box first, but I'm doing it in this one. Okay. Okay. So this person, says, can I fast for 28 days? So it depends. If you're talking about dry fasting, it's certainly physically possible, but now anytime you're transcending like day 12 of a dry fast, you're getting into like fatal territory if you're not prepping fast, if you don't have the right setting. So I always say the example, it's just like surfing. Everyone can want to surf and it seems easy, but once you start trying to paddle out, the waves just throw you right back on the shore, because you're not ready. You don't have the information and the awareness to get past the waves. Just like dry fasting, if you don't have the confidence, the information, and the awareness to get past those days of dry fasting, if you don't understand what the body's doing, you're going to quit. It's just like you get thrown right back onto shore. It's best to have these, hydration near you for you to kind of dip out whenever you want during a fast. You heal as far as you understand how to. You heal as deep as you understand how to. That's kind of what I've figured out, because you're not going to employ anything that you don't understand, And so when people are trying to transcend death and understand death, fasting is the best thing to do, because you're in a physical reality right now. All of you guys listening right now are like energetic beings, in my opinion, and now you're possessing a physical body, and now you're understanding how to utilize that physical body, and how to solve the riddle. Because a lot of people nowadays, 99% of people have something that they want to fix. They want to at least upgrade their body. And if you understand this physical riddle, then you're kind of solving this existence, right? We're here for a reason to understand that. I think that this is, when you fast, your body's pretty much teaching you the way. It's kind of you're re-engaging communication between mind and body, and later on in the fast you re-engage mind, body, and spirit. It's the trifecta. I like to go off on these little spiritual tangents every now and then. So 28 days on dry fasting, I wouldn't recommend it, but on water fasting, it's certainly possible. The number one factor is if you have enough fat to use as ammunition, because your fat is fuel and hydration. So oftentimes people get into fatal territory when they begin, like, they're a fruitarian or something, and they have very, very little fat on their body, and they're starting from an extreme deficit. So I've had obese clients that want to lose weight, and they end up, curing things because they have more ammunition, the fat, to dig into. So next question here is, okay, I guess everyone's using the question box today. Gosh, I like going through the comments too because I can see what people are saying. So I'll kind of like skim through this a little bit quicker here. Okay, cool. All right, and dude, all right, yeah, good to see you guys. Julia B45, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you too. Yeah, see, like this is like a health movement. My whole entire page is about health and upgrading, never taking away from people, never advocating for synthetics or unnatural means. So people are usually very happy and loving. Like if you were to embark on a fast, it's a crazy thing because a lot of people will support you. Like everyone innately understands fasting, and so they're going to support you in that endeavor because everyone understands eating. So depriving themselves of food is just like out of control. It's insane to even think of that concept, right? So when you're going in a long version, you're kind of like you're kind of simulating exactly what spiritual figures do. Like Jesus Christ, people worship Jesus Christ, Son of God, and he fasted for 40 days. So you can't call someone crazy if the person they worship did a 40-day fast, right? So it's kind of like he debunked it. He kind of made it acceptable to do these long fasts. And there's a reason why he didn't stop in the middle of it and then proceed. It's a continuous 40 days. That's an important thing to understand for fasting practitioners out there is they understand. You need to understand that pathogenic activity and bacteria will get depleted exponentially when you continue the fast. You don't break it and give your bacteria like a little bit of food and then continue to 40 days. There's the concept. This is probably one of the most important concepts that I've come across, which is like when you deplete even the good bacteria, you can regenerate it after the fast. But the good bacteria and the bad bacteria are always going to war, but they all got to go on a fast. You essentially are erasing the canvas that you've been painting by eating and living your life. You've been painting a canvas that you're built of right now. Your bacteria personality is built of this stuff. So when you fast, you're disseminating all this stuff. You're deleting everything. It's a complete system reset so that you become a pure original form of your human body, Adam and Eve. You're literally going back to Adam and Eve type version 1.0. So you become the blank canvas, this white canvas that doesn't have a single paint stroke on it. When you break the fast, that's when you start painting again and rebuilding your gut biome and your bacteria and your personality, because your bacteria has a tremendous impact of your personality, so much so that if the bad bacteria is winning the war, you have depressive thoughts, you have suicidal ideation, right? Schizophrenia is never usually positive things that are coming out of the person's mouth. It's always usually self-damning things, right? But if they were to do a 5-day dry fast, they would have a glimpse into what normality is again, because they are just deleting so much bacteria that they repossess their minds and they realize that, oh, I'm not associating myself with schizophrenia. I'm actually a pure vessel is achievable, So that's kind of like the whole concept. I'm sorry. I'm skipping over some people who are asking a little bit too many questions so I can get to everybody. And right now I think that a lot of people on the planet are going through some hard times right now. Like they're being tested, and your identities are being tested, right? So that's also what happens with fasting as well, is you're understanding your identity, and if it's bringing you sadness, so say like the idea of never catching up with your finances or bills, that feeling is like a systemic feeling where you're like, oh, I need to make more money. Like, how do I survive? Like, am I going to be okay? And it's just like, you're not alone, because majority of people on this earth are feeling that anxiety of like never catching up. So it's unnatural. You can always disassociate yourself with this negative frequency and realize that your whole body, your cells are actually listening to you, So if you're stressed about finances, they care about you, like all of your cells have a consciousness that care. So it's just disassociating yourself from certain identities that are not serving you can prove to be very valuable, I found. So like, instead of you just dragging it out and pushing yourself down with things that you thought were important, and that's essentially what people are coming across with all these intense psychedelics. They're pretty much, it's a hardcore thing to do, but they're pretty much figuring out that Like all these identities are not as important as they thought they were, and they're stepping into a space where nothing matters, and I am just I'm already complete. I'm all good. I'm breathing and everything's fine. And it depends on how long they can maintain that energy after that, because sometimes your identities are like octopus tentacles. They'll like try to latch back onto you. If you'll accept it. It's the way I kind of put it is like everyone right now is living under someone else's belief system, whether you know it or not. Like you're you you want to pretty much, like, if you can be convinced of something, you're going to live according to that law. you know so but if you're not going to be convinced of a certain belief system that's kind of inoculated into your world, whatever it might be, then you can rise above it and not have to um, you don't have to like deconstruct it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, next question is Forged by Josh says, when not fasting, should you try an enema a week, or does the conflict with building a good gut microbiome, or should we do enemas before a fast and that's it? Um, yeah, so I think that you can eat essentially whatever you can to rebuild the body before the fast, and then doing 4 to 5 enemas the day of or day before the fast is essential. You don't need to do many of them like the days leading up. You can get a full gut cleansing from just doing 4 to 5 the day of, and then it's all about being in a clean intestinal state and staying in that state for as long as possible. Who cares about the word fasting? Just get your intestines clean and get electrolytes and stay in that state until the job is done, until the body has accomplished its agenda. Why couldn't I see you? I only hear you. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe restart your Instagram, um, because he's in heaven. That is Pacha Quantico. Okay, bad connection. Cool. Okay, yeah. Kuna Lean Tin says, "Hello, sir. Any recommendation on what kind of exercises we should do?" Yeah, so I like to do simple things. Like, I don't think you should do like insane cardio where you're doing like ultra marathons, but I'm thinking like I like doing core exercises by doing crunches every single day. Literally just do one set where you're just doing 50 to 100 crunches every day. That's what I do. It works your back muscles to regulate your spine, which is your nervous system. So the crunches are important. And also you can look, like Brad Pitt from Fight Club. That's not bad either. And try to like practice handstands or like close to it, or like where you're going on your forearms and going up inverted, because you want to get blood flow to your headspace so that you have good cognitive abilities, and you're not susceptible to neurological disorders later on in life, right? And so you want to get good blood flow to your brain. So you can just do it against the wall, and then before you know it, you're good enough to do it without the wall, and you're one of those like Instagram influencers that are just kind of dominating. Um, and also like, I'm a guy, so I like doing upper body stuff. So push-ups, you can just do one exercise. And when you finish that one set of push-ups, do like these mini micro push-ups at the end. That's what's going to differentiate yourself from a normal looking body, from like someone who looks really good with good shoulders and arms. But also when you do push-ups, you're also kind of like instigating your lymphatic pump in your chest. So it's really good to do when you're feeling palpitations during a fast, is just doing 10 push-ups, because you're pulling on your lymphatic system, and it's unkinking the hose that is your cardiovascular system, right? So exercise can be counterintuitive because you're so tired, but when you're creating better blood flow during a fast, push-ups can be very good when you're experiencing palpitations. If that doesn't work, it's time to break the fast. So Leon Gallion says, great results from a 9-day fast back in April, but one thing that always creeps back is histamine issues. Any advice? Any discomfort in gallbladder since the fast? Also discomfort in gallbladder since the fast. I've heard dry can cause gallstones. The gallstones are already there, so you're getting like liver regeneration. But it might be good to do like a liver cleanse before the next fast to release those gallstones. I don't advise doing that like all the time. I think once a year is plenty. But yeah, when you have histamine issues, that means that your pathogenic activity is just repopulating quicker than your good bacteria. So your the whole name of the game at the end of the day is like, these pathogens are trying to find hiding spots in your body again, because you just screwed it up for them. Because now you just uncovered all this lymphatic stagnations, all these domiciles that were protecting it from your immune system. And now your immune system can access it, and now they have to find hiding spots again, right? So it's kind of like unless you're going for the full cure, then you don't have to deal with the histamine reaction afterwards. During your daily life, I think it's good to incorporate some antiparasitics, like like iodine and sea moss and nettle leaf tea, and I like NAC, which I've been talking about recently. So my Instagram just made me skip ahead a good bit. Okay, okay, thoughts on okay. So hopefully I'm not okay. Hopefully I'm not skipping anybody's questions here. Um, Okay, all right. Here's one question here. Is so Devon Evans 101 says thoughts on ingesting a few drops of food grade hydrogen peroxide. It's been a while since I've had a question like this. 12% in water to help oxygenate the blood. Yeah, it's a polarizing question because you're so that's oxidation, right? So you're oxidizing good bacteria as well, and you're pretty much enhancing your immune system by doing that. I just think that living like a normal daily good protocol through your daily routine is sometimes more effective because you're not going to be able to sustain this protocol for long term. You might like get like 3 to 6 months in, and then you just kind of toss it to the side. So if you want to like experiment with it temporarily, I did it for 6 months hardcore, like as much as I could, and I think it was interesting to experience, but I think that oxidation, can age you a little bit faster, right? So antioxidants are what people kind of say that keeps you young, right? So the best antioxidant, which I've been talking about, has been NAC. So if you are going to do this protocol, I would definitely recommend, waiting an hour after you ingest that H2O2 and then ingest like a glutathione, like NAC, um, to counteract the oxidative effects. Next question here is, but like, but it didn't cure me, so the hydrogen peroxide didn't cure me of anything, just FYI. Okay. Yeah. So Devon Evans also asked about the baking soda to promote alkaline pH. So if you are doing intermittent fasting, it's more beneficial than ingesting baking soda every day because you can neutralize your stomach acid, and you're making your body work harder to digest foods, and then you can start having, acid reflux, improper digestion, because your stomach acid, your body knows exactly what it's doing when it's creating stomach acid to dissolve things that are in the stomach and break down a food. So baking soda can kind of neutralize that. So if you're going to do it, I'd say like less often, maybe once a week. Um, Joe Augustine says, thoughts on sea moss and silage versus tongkat ali, ashwagandha, which increase androgen more and which is best for overall health? Is sea moss the best supplement on earth? Yeah, so I think sea moss is the best supplement on earth because if we didn't have ocean on a planet, there would be no human beings, and that's the plant life that's derived from the ocean is condensed um, condensed minerals and electrolytes and everything that the body needs. It's 98% of the things that the body needs are in CMOS. When you break a fast, your body just wants the minerals. And so it wants to rebuild the bones and the hair and the nails. And that can be a 4 month process, but CMOS will give you an upper hand on that. So I conducted a 5 day dry fast, a group fast. And the people that struggled the most were the ones that were not like having proper minerals after the fast. They said they had like a month of like um, just like tiredness and like they felt bad because in my opinion it's because they are on diets that never involve minerals and your body literally just cares about that. If you're gonna like that's also like the symbolism of you being the artist of your body. Like you can eat whatever you want and rebuild your body and muscle the way you want. What you put in your body food wise is also going to do the same thing. And minerals are pretty much the basic foundation of what your body wants. At least have that, and then you can do whatever you want on top of that, right? Yeah, Devin Evans also asks if do parasites cause cancer. I personally think that yeah, like 99% of cancer is caused by parasites. I'm a parasite guy, so if a doctor isn't talking about parasites, with regards to, I hear it all the time when people are like, if you have this problem, that means that you're just stressed. Like, no, like if they're not talking about parasites, they haven't really understood what's really going on in the body. It's they always say like the greatest tool of the devil is making you believe that he doesn't exist. Same thing with the pathogens and the parasites. If they made the doctors and people think that parasites don't exist, beautiful. They mission accomplished. Now they can exist within the body and not be messed with because they don't want to fight anybody. So as a matter of fact, the pharmaceutical industry has developed medication that eliminates your immune system, tells your immune system to turn off, because ironically enough, they think that the body's attacking itself, because they haven't discovered pathogens and parasites to that extent where they're like, oh, the body's attacking itself, turn it off completely. And they find results because of that, because now you're not exacerbating your underlying issue, which is the parasites, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, the book will be out soon. Sorry to kind of stall on that, but I don't want to get in any trouble from people doing what I'm talking about, and I'm just making sure it's ironclad, and it should be out soon, hopefully. Okay, so actually IMC says I did a 3-day dry fast years ago and want to go longer than that now. How do you get past the death feeling? Is it just trust and intuition, or am I not healthy enough first? Yeah, it is trust and intuition, but get yourself hydrated. Gosh, these flies are bad right now. Get yourself hydrated, and make sure you do the electrolytes leading up to the fast, and get yourself intestinally clean. But you want to be hydrated. You want to have enough fat on your body. You want to be in the right setting. So fasting should teach you the right setting for doing this. I'm in Guatemala. This is a really good setting. Like, even my girlfriend was talking about how we just feel better every single day because we're on this huge lake. Like I said, with volcanoes nearby. So we're breathing in that volcanic air. It's not just the ground that gets it. We're breathing in mineral-rich electrolyte air that is going to make fasting seem way easier. I thought 7 days was crazy. And so I blew past that once I understood these concepts of having the right setting, windows open, always nose breathing, having cool, fresh air, and then prepping well with intestinal cleansing and electrolytes and minerals. Okay, so yeah, Nicola, Helena, I would recommend doing a short water fast before ovulation, but make sure you're kind of administering the CMOS and the NAC. That's going to be a game changer for definitely getting pregnant. Yeah, and I love her. VC says top 3 best ways to remineralize after dry fast, or generally, if need to replenish, please. P.S. Beautiful travels you're experiencing. Yeah, so remineralizing after the dry fast. If you understand intake and dietary intake properly, you're going to be prioritizing mineral-rich foods. That's why fruits and vegetables taste better in Costa Rica and in Guatemala, because they have really good soil. So some people like the minerals from meats, so you can get, organ meats and beef and liver. They can give you the minerals if you're into the meat eating, or if you have really good vegetables and fruits that are coming from countries that have good soil, that can remineralize you. But I also like CMOS. I like Shilajit to an extent. You got to make sure it's good source CMOS and Shilajit. I usually don't care about saying that kind of thing, but you can buy CMOS that's actually not CMOS, and Shilajit that's not actually Shilajit, right? So at least if you're getting those 2 things, your hair and nails and bones will become very strong. And your bones are more than just your skeletal structure. It's your body's pulling stem cells and white blood cells and minerals from your bones and reallocating it to your vital organs when they need it. So your bones are very, very important. So if you're getting minor fractures in your bones, that's showing you that your intake is messed up. You're not understanding the process, or you have biofilm that's causing malabsorption. Okay, so next question, Conscious Love 52 says, I developed a wheat intolerance after fasting and fruit cleansing. Do you recommend I go through a longer fast and get past this stage? Yeah, so sometimes your body's going to find that equilibrium again with the parasites. So if you have a wheat intolerance, you're spiking your blood sugar more than anything with the wheat, right? It's creating a sugar spike in your blood, and then the pathogens come out of your skin to go into the blood and create an allergy. That's what allergies are, is when you're creating food for something that it's coming out and creating a histamine reaction. Now you're blowing your nose and you're allergic. When it's reality, it's like your white blood cells are trying to slow down this invader that it just found because it's trying to refeed. That's the point where the parasite doesn't really care about dying off. It's like we're gonna have a mass feeding frenzy that's gonna antagonize the immune system and cause an intolerance and a histamine response. So do you recommend I go through a longer fast to get past the stage? Yeah, so that's the thing. When people call in and say I have this issue, I have that issue. It's pretty much like the good news is that you can cure it. The bad news is it's going to take a lot longer fasting than you initially thought. So if a fasting practitioner says you can cure this in a certain amount of days, like 9 to 11 days, that's usually not correct. I mean, there's a reason why I went 21 days. It's because that's the complete body reset, not medical advice. So like in water fasting, it's around 50 to 60 days. It's like intense numbers, you know. Um, but you want to make sure you do this properly. Don't just randomly go into it and get yourself into the trouble. You want to prep well and be in the right setting. This is going to be the most serious, hardcore thing you've ever done in your life. This is the basic instinctual thing that we all need. We need food and water, right? So you're depriving yourself to go through like this autophagy phase where your body cannibalizes itself and gets rid of the parasites, and then you are getting to an anti-inflammatory state where you're getting like all these divine revelation. That's why Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Gandhi, they're all getting these messages during this anti-inflammatory state. All of you guys are geniuses, just have some inflammation that's preventing you from accessing your highest IQ, your dream states, these messages that you might be getting sent from your higher self. Like I talked about in my last fast, like your higher self is constantly trying to communicate with you. So if you give it like a brief time during a fast to communicate, it's going to take advantage and most likely give you simple lessons. So your simple lessons can be, take things easy, relax, breathe, don't have any wants or desires, because when you don't have any wants and desires, it's crazy to say that, desires are good. Okay, well, your desires are kind of like your identity wanting something, right? So if you have wants and desires, you're not in that meditative state that these monks are always after. You're in a blank canvas, because now you cannot be tricked. Now you cannot be messed with, because if your phone or like social media or people can tell that you desire something, now you can be manipulated, right? If a person can tell you desire something, you can lose that negotiation, or they can kind of take advantage. So being stoic and not showing showing your desires and wants on your externally is kind of beneficial. Um, okay, where's the question box? All right, so okay, okay, all right, getting to the next question. Okay, yeah, I appreciate you too. I've answered a couple questions from the same people, and I see people following during the live stream as well. I guess see, this is why I do it. Like, people are finding my information more so, and this is more fun. This is live. It's present. People want to see things that are current. Like, if you're like me, like, you don't want to see information from a week ago. You want to see information from right now. What's the current state of the world? Do I recommend colon? Yeah, colonics are. So Zoel Garcia, yeah, yeah. Cleaning your colon with colonics can be good, but I think that going to a colon hydrotherapist or getting one of those bags and getting 72 ounces of water for each session and doing 4 to 5 sessions till the water is clean, exiting your body, then you, hola, sí, buenos días, sí, muchas gracias. I'm getting laundry done. Yeah, we check out at like 11 and it's like 2.5 hours from then.
Son 50 quetzales.
50?
Sí.
Ok, sí, sí. Yo puedo poner más dinero cuando estás. Gracias. Okay, so next question is, I have Gold Bushka says, I have acne, but I am traumatized by iodine in the morning. Can I take it in the middle of the meal during the day? Yeah, laundry. Yeah, yeah, you can't really take it in the middle of the day because it's going to mix with the food and the previous things that you have in your body and you put in your body that are not on an empty stomach, right? So iodine can prevent your bacteria from digesting foods properly and then cause gassiness, can cause bloating, right? So doing it on an empty stomach is not going to interfere with anything previously. Plus, vitamin C neutralizes the impact of iodine. So iodine is like anti-parasitic, and I think it's a very good thing for people who are suffering from some eczema and some parasitic activity when they're not going to do these long fasts. So people literally put iodine in the water when they're camping to clean out the water from bacteria and pathogenic issues that they're going to be drinking. So you're cleaning your lymph with the iodine, but you want to do it in the morning. With people who are traumatized by iodine, dilute it more with water so that you're not tasting it, and start smaller and then upgrade. And you're going to get to a point where you're not traumatized by it. And you got the upper hand of the viral loads, so now you're not getting those exacerbations that are causing issues. Not medical advice, but I mean, it's beneficial with hundreds of clients that I worked with. How do you build back your teeth enamel? So you can do that obviously by having a good, it depends. If you're a coffee drinker or if you're oxidizing, if you're, swishing hydrogen peroxide, you're stripping the enamel. But I think that having just a good toothpaste, which consists of, baking soda, bentonite clay, mint, and you can do oregano powder as well. And you want to brush your gums with, I forget what the one I like now is Dr. Harry's. I'm going to create my own toothpaste powder, but Dr. Harry's, I think it's called. It's only like $8. It's really good. Makes your breath smell great, makes your teeth whiter, and your gums. You want to brush your gums. Your gums are almost more important than the teeth, because the gums are going to carry parasites, and they're going to carry the acids flow from your lymphatic system to your teeth. It's like scientifically proven as well. So you don't want acids to get there to kind of break down your teeth and create cavities. So yeah, you really just want to, if your teeth are essentially the only part of your body where your bones are exposed, right? So like you see how healthy your teeth are, your bones are by your teeth health, right? So get the minerals in the diet. I like dissolving the two things: dissolve the biofilm in the intestines, and then get the minerals in CMOS, and then the raw vegan or the carnivore diet if you're trying to go that route. Yeah, and then the toothpaste, Dr. Harry's. Those are the three things I would do. CMOS during pregnancy, please, good brand. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the brand, and I love her, VC. Just DM me, and I'll send you the one that I like to use. It's on Amazon. Yeah. So Rohan says, when do you think the next pandemic will happen? Please answer this, please. So obviously there's proof that that was funded. That was a funded thing in China where they're creating pathogens to mess up the immune system and create infertility, right? That's the whole thing. It's essentially going to war without having to kill anybody with a gun. So if you and collectively internationally, people aren't able to get pregnant as they once were. It's literally just bacteria that's causing mucus that's coating the female egg and the sperm. So now there's more erectile dysfunction, and the egg of the female cannot get penetrated by the sperm. So dissolve the biofilm. That's how you do it. So whatever, I always think the people who are creating these viruses, they'll have the antidote for themselves, but also the people who fast will actually have the antidote as well, more so than the scientists. So if you can fast, if you understand how to fast, you can keep resetting the body and pretty much rise above anything that they produce in the lab. So the next pandemic, I think it would have already happened if we were going to be more susceptible to the first one. So I think that they realized that people aren't going to listen anymore. As a matter of fact, they're very aware of retaliation, and we're at a very sensitive time right now globally where people are not going to put up with any more bullshit, and so they realized that they have to be very sensitive about what they introduce next. So a pandemic would only create more. Will rise above quicker, if they do that, because no one's going to put masks on anymore, and no one's going to obey the rules. So then we're going to expose to ourselves that the system can be broken sooner, if they introduce it. So I think that a pandemic is less likely to occur than weather manipulation. I think weather manipulation is currently their priority. If they don't get what they want, they're just like a bunch of babies. If we don't get the right president, we're just going to mess you up with earthquakes and manipulating the weather with these. I mean, if you look at it, Antarctica has this weapon that they've cultivated where you can actually, it was supposed to be a telescope, where you can see farther into outer space, but they realized that it can transmute energy, so now it's a weapon. They've pretty much weaponized something that was supposed to be information gathering, and that's been working for the past 30, 40 years, and now they're fine tuning it to the point where you can create earthquakes and fires, wherever you want in the world. It's very specific where you can target spaces. That's kind of a counterproductive thing to say, because now I can get myself in trouble for even telling you guys that truth. But there's been people that have worked for this facility and have left and are trying to warn the world about it. I'm not saying it's too late, but look at all the earthquakes that are happening right now. It's not on the news either, right? Yeah. So they were kind of sloppy at first. They're like, we intended to put an earthquake in this place, but then there was in another place. Um, so they're going to say there's a global warming effect, global catastrophe. Everyone stay in their homes. No need for elections anymore. Just that's a possibility. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they're going to create. If they can't do the pandemic, they're going to create a catastrophe with weather and earthquakes to make you feel like your safety is under threat. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, parasites are everywhere. So this person says Saturn the soul says parasites are in meat though much more than other foods. Yeah, it's a great question. People can get parasites from meat as well, but the thing about meat, the deficit is that you're going to be, you can get the bad spiritual effect from like the animal suffering and that frequency that keeps you on the earth. That's the benefit of raw vegan. It kind of keeps you lighter and more circulation. But the meat gives you the protein, and the one thing that's beneficial about it is that you're not spiking your blood sugar like other foods would. So that's why people have found themselves to be carnivore lately, is because they're never spiking their blood sugar and they're constantly in ketosis. And that's why they're like meat only. I don't care if the animal's suffering, just give me the meat. That's my that's my opinion on it. And so they're able to build muscle tissue and never spike their blood sugar to antagonize the parasites. So I'm probably gonna do 5 more minutes, and then yeah, and then I'm probably gonna sign off. But I like this one, and I'll post it. And even I kind of disclosed a couple of things that are not that might get me in trouble. A few things actually, but I'm just being real and raw. Life is short, take what you want. Um, okay, yeah, I crave sweets every day. Okay, yeah. So this person says, I crave sweets every day, and after eating anything, I don't eat normal sugar, but I mean stuff like fruit, honey, and raw vegan sweets. How do I get unaddicted to it, and why do I crave it? So if you were to dry fast 5 days, you'd realize that those cravings go away. You might crave fruit still because that's hydration, but you're literally on the regimen that your bacteria is telling you to be on, and your mind is weaker than your gut biome currently right now. That's essentially what's going on. So you're responding to the colony is big. Your biome for these foods are big, so they're going to have a big influence over you and cause you to be hangry and irritable until you feed them. They're like a bunch of babies. But if you were to just, buckle down and get past that phase and reprogram your gut biome by fasting or introducing other diets, then you can overcome these addictions the food addiction that it has over you. And it's a hard thing to do. And it's a good thing that overcoming this is hard, because then that's the challenge. That's you're here to overcome this dilemma, which is depending on other things than yourself, right? You're already complete, and these addictions are making you feel like you're incomplete. I need this to go on with my day. It can even be alcohol too. People are addicted to alcohol, and that's also a bacteria that's fed, and so you go into withdrawals when you don't have it anymore. Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, awesome. Great. You're reading everyone's comments here, and someone talking about, um, yeah. So yeah, the gallstones. You just do the liver cleansing and then embark on the fast. But yeah, so the liver flush, is really beneficial, and yeah, and that'll be good before the fast. So clean the liver, clean the intestines, and you'll be good to go. You're right, and I love her. C says Uncle Harry's for the toothpaste. So people who are looking for like the best toothpaste, in my opinion, Uncle Harry's. They're gonna love this because they're gonna get a lot more purchases. But I love it so far, and so does my girlfriend. Do you think it's best? Yeah. So this person says, do you think it's best to get a cavity filled or try to heal it first? And how do you heal? Yeah, fasting is great for bone regeneration, but also remineralize after the fast. But if I had a cavity, like I know for sure that fasting will regenerate healthy teeth. So I would first do a fast and then do the toothpaste, and then and see where I'm at after that. See if the cavity is still there, and then I'll may partake in the in filling the cavity. But right now in my life, I know I can just do a long fast and cure anything. So I wouldn't ever. I don't really like even going to the dentist. To be honest with you. But okay, okay. Um, okay, yeah, this question is, I had a acolytic says, I was fasting on sugarcane juice and lemon. On the 10th day, I had an insane stomach ache like you get during gas trap. Almost felt like dying. The pain would come in waves, 2 days, and then completely go. Yeah, it's just you. when you don't have the bacteria to digest certain foods, it's going to create carbon dioxide and oxygen and nitrogen, and that's creating the gas because it's not digesting properly. So I wouldn't. I'm not really a big juice faster. It's going to clean the intestines, but it's not going to cure anything. Plus, you're depriving bacteria that can help you, in your daily life. So it's going to clean your intestines and make you feel great temporarily, but then you got to regenerate your gut biome, and you're going to have a lot of bloating and gassiness after the juice fast. So I don't think juice fasts really cure anybody. I know it's going to be a mic drop moment for a lot of people. Like, I cured myself. Like, no, you symptom manage, and there's not really a cure at the end of the day. It's just you temporarily feel good. So water fasting and dry fasting for the one. Um, okay. So already dehydrated people. So this is an interesting question, and most people would know the answer to this one, I think, is Avila B. Singh says, fasting for already dehydrated people, what kind of fasting should they do? So dehydrated people are usually hijacked by biofilm and mucus already. So any hydration you put in your body, it's robbing you of that and then making it there so they can transport themselves around the body and feed where they need to feed. So dehydration is sometimes mostly just that. You have dry skin or dry lips, that's a pathogen that has hijacked that area of the body, right? Or dry elbows, dry knees, dry like joints, pathogens there. And so sometimes if you have fat on the body, your body's going to essentially see that as hydration and fuel. So you're going to eventually take back your internal fluids, to hijack internal fluids, and be able to achieve more hydration by doing the long fast or involving antiparasitics in your daily regimen. So this is a game changer. I like the iodine, CMOS, and the NAC. So NAC is N-acetylcysteine, and it's an amino acid. It's a mucolytic agent that dissolves biofilm and it'll make your skin really good. I like it a lot currently. A lot of my clients love it as well. So before I really truly advocate it, I'm going to give it like another month or two, but currently I really like it. But you got to like give things a go. Like, don't just do 2 days and then put it to the side. Like, give it 21 days where you're doing like 2 a day, before you really throw it to the side. Some people are just like so undisciplined that they can't even do a supplement regimen rather than like a fast. Yeah, so Yasana 888 says, do you think it's okay to do 20 to 23 hours daily long term? Yeah, I totally think it's okay to do that. The thing is, you're programming your body to whatever you do consistently. So just always understand that. So a wide range of food is going to keep a good range of bacteria in your body. But also if you eat only 1 hour a day, you're going to experience a lot of health benefits from that. But it's also going to slow your metabolism down just a little bit. Your metabolism is like a rubber band. It can flex in and out. You can speed it up with exercise and eating more frequently, and you can slow it down by eating less often. So my live stream saying that I only have 1 minute and 52 seconds. So I'm sorry that like I'm capped, but it's probably a good thing because I'll just talk all day long. I love these concepts. Okay, so this person says, please don't sign off. Please tell me how to clean my ear. Yeah, clean your ear with the things I'm talking after 4 p.m. Okay, so don't eat after 4 p.m. NAC saunas, and you should be good to go. And hydrate fully. Okay, sorry if I didn't get anybody's questions. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read everything before I get off here, but I will post this on YouTube. Why Sean D is talking about methylene blue. I haven't really gotten into that. People are obsessed with it. I'm not really the biggest fan because I don't really know much about it, so I can't comment on it. This person, Aaron M. Escobedo, says, does dry fasting help eliminate viruses from the body such as HSV? And if so, how long do you suggest fasting for? Yeah, it's a great question. And most people are suffering from HSV, herpes, and sexually transmitted diseases. That's why it's kind of telling you, like in the scriptures, like, be, absent. Did I just give myself a filter? Oh my God. I don't know how to turn this filter off. Oh God, that's so funny. How did I just do that? Anyway, yeah, you can solve it with long fast, and but the thing is, HSV is very intelligent. It'll kind of dwell in your nervous system, and it'll go into your jaw and like your back of your tailbone, and it takes a longer fast to do so. So you're right. You have to build up to 5 days, 7 days, 9 days, 11 days. 11 days is not going to do it. Anyway, I love all you guys, even though I look like a princess fairy right now, and I'm heading to America again, and then Bali. I'm going to do a Bali retreat later on this year. I got 9 seconds left. I love all you guys, and and make sure you, just keep the love inside you and good frequencies. Much love. Peace.